the Jordanian authorities had given them legal deed, they would have retained that sort of deed after 67. So in 67, there's another war. There's like a war every 10 years in Israel. In 67, there's another war. Israel wins back all of Jerusalem. They unify the city of Jerusalem, right? That's why Old and New Jerusalem are now in Israel. So Sheikh Jarrah, a lot of the people who had owned the apartment buildings prior to 48, they now come in. You have basically a legal dispute in which the Palestinians who've been living there for 15, 20 years because of the war, they say, we live here, we own it. And the Jews say, here's our deed of property, we own it. This goes through the Israeli court system. There was an agreement that was reached where the Palestinians would have to pay rent to the Jews because the Jews still had the legal deed. The Jordanians had transferred. I know this is very complex, but this is how everything is over there. Okay, and so bottom line is that the Palestinians there stop paying rent, and there's a court ruling that comes down saying you haven't paid rent in 10, 15 years, and now you're going to be evicted. That started a war. Okay, that's really what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then there were a bunch of people who went up to, quote unquote, pray and also protest up on the Temple Mount. They started assaulting Israeli soldiers from the Al-Aqsa Mosque. There's video of them throwing rocks from the Al-Aqsa Mosque at the soldiers. This turns into a major issue. And then, again, all generated, at least in part by the Palestinian Authority, trying to distract from the fact they hadn't had an election. And then Hamas gets in on the act because they have to be kind of louder than the Palestinian Authority. They start firing rockets in the middle of Israel.
So this is what you're saying is the real reason. Now, what is the public reason?